You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another monthly movie recap. So there's good news and bad news with this one. Good news is, this one's going to be in higher quality. The bad news is, I'm not going to be able to edit it and add any of the fun filters and music and shit, because at the moment, my internet is down for reasons I don't fully understand, but I'll get to the bottom of tomorrow. Anyway, it's been a while. Obviously, this is a monthly in name only, right? Like, it's been more than a month. I don't remember how long it's been. I usually can cross-check on the computer. And I can't do that right now because the internet is down. So that's really fucking annoying. So I can't look up any details and shit, too, that I may have forgotten. Because sometimes I do that if I forget, like, a character name or a year something came out or something simple like that, right? I'll do a quick Google and then edit out me typing and searching for it. Nevertheless, here we go, an unedited one. But again, high quality. Actually, pretty good camera, because this is my new phone, which is the first time I've actually ever had a brand new phone, although I have streamed from it quite a few times now. But anyway, first movie we're going to talk about, the Naked Gun reboot. Now, it's actually a sequel. It's the fourth Naked Gun movie chronologically, and I gotta say, this movie I liked better than Naked Gun 2 and 3. It's probably not as good as Naked Gun 1, and Naked Gun 1 itself also isn't as good as Airplane, but this was really good. Naked Gun 2025 was fucking great. Liam Neeson is a great Frank Drebin Jr., because he's the son of Leslie Nielsen's character, Frank Drebin. And even though I can't edit, I can still utilize the pause button, which is what that just was. But anyway, then we're going to talk about well, in the Naked Gun movie, see now, because I'm not editing, you're going to hear these fucking flubs and shit, but whatever. Movie's actually pretty based, too. Like, it had a lot of jokes I didn't expect. Like, it's simple stuff, and again, I think a lot of people do make a bigger deal out of these, making them a bigger victory than they are. But there's certain jokes that they made in it that I was surprised they made. Like, they make a reference to O.J. Simpson, because, you know, O.J. Simpson was in the first 3 Naked Gun movies. Because there's a scene where everyone's, like, you know, crying about their dead dad, and then they have Nordberg, who is O.J.'s character's son, and he's like, "Dad," and then he looks at the camera and he's like, nah, we're not doing that. They also make a Bill Cosby joke, you know, so that was pretty funny. And then they also use the word retarded, which, again, it's coming back more into normal use. But, again, I'm not going to make it like this big victory that everyone acts like it is, but it is just kind of normal people talk. The movie's fun, had a lot of gags, had a lot of funny references. Like I said, Liam Neeson is a great Frank Drebin. There was a joke that was kind of the same joke as in Austin Powers, where they were, like, viewing them through infrared, like, heat-seeking lens, you know, the thermal vision, and they keep getting into scenarios where it looks like it's sexual to the outside observer, but it's not, which, again, they did a very similar joke in Austin Powers. There's also a really funny scene where it turns out everybody's doing a sting operation on everybody else, where they just keep saying, "Did you get all that?" And then they'll be like, "Yeah," and then they'll continue the conversation, and then the other person will say, "Did you get all that?" Like, so it's this sting within a sting within a sting, and it's pretty funny. Again, as with most Naked Gun movies, and movies by David Zucker even, like, I don't think David Zucker had anything to do with this one, but, you know, he might have, I don't know. I can't look it up because my internet's fucking down, and I'm recording with the phone. But, all the other David Zucker movies have, their jokes are predictable with the payoff, but it's still funny. Like, the beginning of the scene, there's a heist going on, and you see, like, a little girl walking into the heist, and, like, the cops are telling her, stop, don't go in, and she keeps walking, and I'm like, that's gonna be Liam Neeson, and he's gonna, like, pull off the mask, right? And that's exactly what it was. I knew that's what it was going to be, but that didn't make it any less funny. It was still fucking hilarious. Alright, next movie we're going to talk about is the Minecraft movie. Now, this movie was really, really funny. As an objective written movie, it's fucking stupid. But it's almost like it's making fun of the concept of a movie, and that it's making fun of the concept that Minecraft, of all things, could get a movie. The kids in this movie have no fucking development at all. Jack Black and Jason Momoa absolutely carry this thing. They're the only ones who are even interesting characters. Other than the Pigmen. The Pigmen are pretty fun, too. The thing that's funny is, like, there's no development for anyone else besides those two. And I would argue even then, Jason Momoa's character is like the only one that really has an arc. There's also this like fat black lady in the movie who literally does nothing. Like she's just there to fall over, which I guess is supposed to be funny. Her hair looks like it's from Minecraft because she's got this weird square afro, so there's that. But honestly, this movie will go in my top 10 video game movies at this point, because this movie is a fucking meme factory, and that feels like that's the entire point of it. Just like stupid quotes, flint and steel, la 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 lava, chicken, or chicken jockey, like all of these fucking like memes that come from this movie are fucking spectacular. This movie was a lot of fun, a lot of good jokes. Again, as an actual like story, it's fucking retarded, but it is by far way better than I expected it to be. Now, it did help that I was watching it with friends and we were going to take the piss out of it, but honestly, we all ended up liking it by the end of it because it was a lot of fun. Alright, now next up we have Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. Those are the only two I've seen thus far, but they are really good movies. Especially Beverly Hills Cop 1, but they're both great. Now, interestingly, he's not a cop in Beverly Hills. He's a Detroit cop, but he goes to Beverly Hills to do an investigation, because the first movie, his friend gets killed, then he goes to Beverly Hills to investigate why, and it's this whole big thing. It's interesting, too, because like each of the movies has to come up with a reason for him to go back to Beverly Hills. But I went into this movie mainly only watching it because I've heard the theme song countless times, Axel F., which later got remade by Crazy Frog. So dun 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 dun. It's iconic theme song, and they play it many times in both movies, which I was very happy about because it's a fucking kick-ass song. But these are action comedy movies. I think the first one is better than the second one, just because there sort of becomes a trio of characters, right? There's Axel Foley, and then there's the two Beverly Hills detectives whose names I would know if I could double check. I think there's Taggart. And then there's, the fuck's the other one's name? Again, I'd Google it, but my fucking internet's down, so I can't fucking do that. But anyway, those other two detectives and him have this trio, and also the fucking chief, whose name also escapes me. It's like Bogomil or something. I think it's Bogomil. He's in it too. It's very fun because initially, like, Axel Foley goes down to Beverly Hills and he gets arrested himself, and he's like getting in trouble for like meddling in affairs down there. And then it turns out that there's actually like a lot of corruption and stuff, and there's a local official who's behind everything, like a local like business magnate that has like ties in all the local government and stuff. Also, Jonathan Banks is in this movie, Mike Ehrmantraut. He doesn't do a whole lot as far as screen time, but he is very important because he is the guy who shoots Axel's friend at the beginning of the movie. But it's a very funny action movie, and again, the reason the first one is better, I think, is because initially there's kind of hostilities between Axel and the local cops, and so they have sort of this frenemy thing where he's kind of fucking with them and staying one step ahead of them the whole time and like kind of trolling them, which is fucking great. The second movie, I think, has a lot more action. It does have, like, a female villain. She's not actually the main villain. I thought she would be, because she's pretty prominent in the beginning, but she's actually working for yet another local, like, member of the community who's big. But yeah, this is classic Eddie Murphy stuff. Eddie Murphy was really funny back in the day. It's funny that a guy who did, like, R-rated movies would go on to do so many kids' movies, especially after he himself shit-talked Bill Cosby for doing the same thing, but then he himself went to do it. Granted, some of his kid movies are great, like him as Donkey as Shrek, in Shrek, rather, is awesome. And, also him in, maybe this is a hot take, but Daddy Daycare I thought he was pretty funny in, and The Haunted Mansion I thought was decent, too. But we do plan to watch the rest of the Beverly Hills Cop movies. There's two more. There's Beverly Hills Cop 3, and then there's Beverly Hills Cop Axel F., which is the newest one. Alright, next movie we're going to talk about is the one movie on this list that I absolutely hated watching. And that is Where the Dead Go to Die. Now, this is a movie that Edgar has talked about many times in the chat. And, it's not good. It's, basically, if you take, like, a Cyber 8 animation, or, like, a fucking Pam Tree animation, although Cyber 8's more edgy than Pam Tree, so I'd say Cyber 8's more accurate, or, like, some stuff that, like, Randy Prozac did. Take that, one of those bits, and extend it to a full movie, where it's like a whole movie of that, This honestly wouldn't have been too unbearable if, number one, if it had a premise or like a point, or if there was any substance to it at all. Because again, the whole point of this movie is to just be as over the top edgy as possible, and I love stuff that's over the top edgy, even sometimes when it's edgy just for the sake of edgy. But this one didn't vibe with me a lot. Now, there were things I liked about it. There were certain scenes and sequences that I liked, because it's also an anthology movie. It's really gross, which is one of my problems I had with it. But, because I'm not the biggest fan of gross out stuff, whether it be in horror or in comedy, there can be times I like it. Like, I like some of the gross out stuff in, like, Terrifier or, like, Ren and Stimpy, right? But this movie did have some really cool visuals with how some of the demons looked. Some of the aesthetic was really good. It was very atmospheric. And I would say part of the problem that it had was it did kind of unsettle me. It was kind of soul-crushing on the inside watching it. And maybe, like, that's clearly what they were going for. So I think that that's definitely, you know, mission accomplished, I guess, in unsettling me, but it wasn't in, like, a pleasant way. Because I love unsettling things, right? Like Antichrist. Love that movie. That movie's fucking great. It's fucking hard to watch when Willem Dafoe's getting his genitals mutilated, right? But it's a fun movie overall. I don't know if fun's the right word, but it's a really good movie. Whereas this, it just didn't click. And it drags on too long. And I think that's the biggest problem. I think, again, there's multiple problems as I've laid out, but the biggest problem is it's too fucking long. Like, sometimes it just feels like they're artificially extending the segments just to artificially extend it. Like, I'll give props to Jimmy Screamer-Claus for just doing what he wants with the movie and making it as fucked up and edgy as he can. But it's not really a fun watch. It's not entertaining. We didn't even finish it. Because we were on the last segment. And I was just getting pissed off because of how much it was wasting my time when I'd rather have been watching something else. And also the fact that it kept disconnecting because we were watching it together with the Discord, because it's on YouTube somehow. But, like, it kept disconnecting me from the Discord. And so we couldn't, when it disconnected the last time, it was no longer showing the movie to the guys in the chat. And I didn't know that, so I let it run for like 2 minutes before they're like, wait, are you supposed to be still showing the movie? And at that point, I'm just like, fuck this shit, and I ended it. So I didn't actually finish it. I think there was like 20 minutes left, because it's so long. Like, you feel every fucking second of this fucking movie. Now let's go to a movie that was actually fun again, and that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now, this was my first time seeing Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, hence why it's in the video, because it's only ever in if it's my first time watching it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, despite being also directed by Tobe Hooper, is a radically different movie than Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1. It is so fucking different. It's really funny, zany, and over the top, and it has Bill Moseley, the guy who played Otis Driftwood in the Devil's Rejects trilogy, as a character named Chop Top, who is the best fucking character in this movie. He's fucking nutty, and he's really fun. He's got, like, this metal plate on his head, and he's gross, too. And, see, the gross out in this movie was funny. There was some gross out in this movie, but it was really funny. There's not a whole lot of kills in this movie. There's 2 at the beginning, and then there's a couple here and there. But, for the most part, the movie is just about the family from the Sawyer family, the cannibalistic, serial-killing fucking freaks from the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, tormenting this reporter who aired them killing these 2 guys who called into the radio show. This movie does a weird thing, too, where it tries to depict Leatherface as, like, not evil, just, like, retarded and manipulated by the rest of the family, and also is, like, really horny and simping for this reporter chick. It's weird. It's definitely an interesting direction to take it in, but I actually really liked this movie. This was a lot of fun. This was way more fun than Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 is obviously the better movie, but this one was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Lots of fun. Alright, next up we got one of the movies I watched on the Halloween live stream, and that's West of Zanzibar. Now, this is a classic Lon Chaney movie, which is very similar in tone to the last Lon Chaney movie that I watched before this, which was The Unknown, because it's a revenge plot gone wrong and sort of having a karmic justice twist at the end, right? Because it's the story of this guy whose wife leaves him for another man, and then she comes back with a baby, and he assumes that the baby is the daughter of the other man she ran off with, and then his wife dies, and so then he builds up this crazy Count of Monte Cristo type revenge scheme where he has like this multiple decade-long plan to, it's probably only like 2 decades at most, but still, this pretty long plan to get revenge on this guy. And spoilers here, there's going to be some spoilers for this one. The movie is public domain. I did actually show it on the Halloween live stream. But there is, anyway, so in this movie, he has the daughter raised by this, like, tribe in Africa, and raised in poverty and, like, shit, like, raised horribly, right? And then he meets up with the guy there, who's also there, the one who, again, is presumably the girl's father, the one who presumably his wife ran off with before she died. He meets up with him and does this crazy, like, magic trick and stuff, and he's, like, you know, trying to show the guy, hey, there's this girl, and he's, like, treating her like shit, and he meets up with the daughter, and he starts treating her like shit and, like, abusing her and being terrible to her, right? And then he brings the father in, he's still tormenting her, and then he's like, I just wanted to tell you, that's your daughter. And then, like, then the plan was to have this tribe that he's been sort of in charge of since he's been there all these years to kill her father. And then the tradition of the tribe is if they kill the father, they burn the body, but the daughter, who's still alive, will be burned with him because that's sort of their tribal tradition. But then the big twist happens where it's revealed, actually, it's not the guy's daughter at all. His wife actually never ran off with him. She decided not to. Instead, it's his daughter, the main character, Lon Chaney, who's been plotting all this revenge. So he's been tormenting his own daughter. He had his own daughter raised in horrible conditions. And then he has, like, one sweet moment with her. He tries to cancel the killing of her father. Doesn't happen. And then he's left with the tribe now wanting to burn the daughter alive. And then he comes up with this plan using his magic trick thing where he gets his daughter out of there, as well as this guy who was there with him who was, like, in love with his daughter. He has one really sweet moment with his daughter, and then he gets her and the other guy out of there with his magic trick, doing a switcheroo so they can run out of there. And then they decide to then obviously sacrifice himself because the tribe is pissed, so they kill him naturally. It's a really good movie, very much, again, very similar tone and themes as The Unknown. I think it was the same director as well. Very good, classic silent movie. I quite enjoyed this. I've been really liking every Lon Chaney movie I've seen so far, so I want to watch more of them. Alright, now on to the other movie we watched on our Halloween live stream, and that is The Old Dark House. Now, The Old Dark House is a movie about a family whose car breaks down. Or not a family, a couple, rather. And then there's another couple whose car also breaks down, and it breaks down outside this creepy old dark house that a family lives in. And this family's, like, creepy and, like, has, like, one of the sons locked in the attic. And there's a lot of tension, and then they have this, like, freaky butler that's, like, kind of crazy and, like, deformed. And they're sort of trapped there because of the rain and everything. And there's obviously, like, people start getting killed off, and, like, there's, like, the son that's in the attic tries to kill off some of the other characters, and it's a whole big thing. It's a big mess, and again, it's kind of interesting thematically that it's got, like, the creepy family, which, you know, kind of puts it in my head in a similar category to things like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or House of a Thousand Corpses, right? It even has, like, an iconic awkward dinner scene, which all of these movies tend to have. It's a black and white talkie. It's also public domain, so it's not silent, but it's public domain, and we did watch it on the Halloween stream and show it as well. It was also a very entertaining movie. Now, to end off with, we have Oldboy. Now, this is a movie I have been meaning to see for fucking years. We tried to watch it last year or the year before, I can't remember exactly which, but the version we found, the subtitles were all fucked up and we couldn't read it. I'm obviously talking the original Korean version of Oldboy, by the way. Now, this one, I will try my best not to spoil the twist, but it is a fucking mindfuck. This whole movie is a mindfuck. It's surreal as hell. Movie starts out with this guy getting drunk, and then like calling home and talking to his wife and daughter, and then mysteriously he gets kidnapped the night that he's drunk, and then he's imprisoned for 15 years in this freaky cell in this massive apartment complex that the villain of the movie owns, and he's being gassed and hypnotized with the power of suggestion for reasons that aren't abundantly clear until much, much later in the movie, which tie into the overlaying big twist. He meets up with a chick at a sushi restaurant and goes home with her, and the two of them build a relationship and start trying to investigate why he was imprisoned. And the movie has some pretty cool violent scenes where the villains are sending all these goons after him and he's like fucking them up. This guy can put up a hell of a fight, I'll tell you that. But as he's investigating it, he starts to find out more about the villain's past and how the villain is actually connected to him because the two went to the same school, and then he finds out what happened between the two of them in the past. And I might spoil it a little more later. But suffice to say, there is a personal vendetta involved in this movie. There's also a really cool dental torture scene where the main character is ripping out the teeth of this guy that he's torturing to get information on the villain. I went into this completely blind, knowing literally nothing about it other than it was Korean and that there's a twist. So I think at this point in the video, I'm going to get into spoiler territory. I would highly recommend watching Oldboy if you haven't before listening to the rest of this video, because Oldboy is all I'm talking about here from this point onward. The big twist is, again, not only, and spoiler, not only did he go to school with this guy, but apparently he had seen this guy fuck his own sister, and then he told people about it, and that started this whole rumor of his sister being a whore. And then he lost it, got his sister pregnant, and she offed herself. And then the villain blamed the main character for that. He also denied, he refused to believe that she was actually pregnant. But then the twist that you find out is the way that he got his revenge for this is he hypnotized the main character and the woman from the sushi shop to meet up, fall in love, and eventually have sex because, and I kind of guessed this when I first introduced her, the chick from the sushi shop is the main character's daughter. So for revenge, he made him fuck his own daughter without knowing it, and then have to live with that. This leads to a whole crazy scene where he's begging the villain not to tell his daughter about it so she doesn't know the truth about what happened, so it doesn't fuck her up mentally. And then he cuts out his own tongue as like an offering to him. And then there's this whole crazy scene. The villain gives him this button that's supposed to kill him, but actually doesn't. It was just more ways to fuck with the main character. The villain gets an elevator, ultimately shoots himself in the head. And then the main character goes back to the hypnotist who was gassing him and shit and working for the villain. And tries to get her to erase his memory of the fact that he fucked his own daughter. I think that they were only having him remove the memory that she was his daughter, which to me is a little crazy because they didn't affect his daughter's memory, so would that mean that the two would still theoretically pursue a romantic relationship? And he just forgets the reason why it's fucked up? Is that the goal there? Or am I misreading this part? Because that's interesting. But anyway, she does her whole hypnosis thing, and then his daughter shows up, and they meet up and hug, and she says, "I love you." And then he smiles, but then he kind of grimaces at the end, where he's like he has kind of a distressed look at his face, and which I leave kind of ambiguous. But my friend who I was watching it with says, "Do you think maybe that means he actually still does remember?" And he can't tell her anything anymore because the two of them are back together now, they're like traveling together. They're not like together romantically per se, but he doesn't have a tongue, so he can't talk. Now again, I don't know what happens after this movie, and again, it's left very ambiguous, but this movie was a whole big mindfuck, like holy hell. And obviously I am not even doing close to doing it justice with the whole thing, because this movie is nuts. It is crazy. It's super surreal and absurd with what the hell's going on. But yeah, Oldboy was a really good movie. There's an American remake, and I've heard that sucks. But yeah, that's going to do it for this monthly movie recap. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Have a good one. Toodles!